Hey there folks, I'm Joey DeAngelis and welcome to Silent Film Saturday, episode number 52. Last week I discussed Wings, the first Academy Award winner for Best Picture. This week I discussed the first Academy Award winner for Most Unique and Artistic Production. And you might be thinking to yourself, Joey, that's not a real award. And I would tell you, yes. It was a real award at one point, however it was only awarded once, to F.W. Murnau's 1927 masterpiece, Sunrise. Let's take a look at this package. This is the DVD from 20th Century Fox, but I want to make a point that there are a couple Blu-ray editions of the film, so what I'm reviewing might not be the best quality edition. Just for your information. It's got a, pretty standard looking cover. It's pretty much standard for a lot of the 20th Century Fox studio classics from like a couple years ago. Some bonus features, audio commentary track by John Bailey, outtakes with optional John Bailey commentary, original scenario by Carl Mayer with annotations by F.W. Murnau, Murnau's lost film Four Devils screenplay, original Sunrise screenplay, theatrical trailer, movie tone score, and alternate Olympic Chamber Orchestra score. I watched this in the movie tone score. Now let me take a look at this booklet, and it's got some notes on the film, and its Oscar wins, which, include Most Unique and Artistic Production, Best Actress for Janet Gaynor, and Best Cinematography from Charles Rosher and Carl Struss. And Carl Struss, you might remember or might know that he did the cinematography for not only Island of Lost Souls, but also the cinematography for Chaplin's The Great Dictator. Sunrise is a very simple story. You have George OBrien, who plays a farmer, and he is involved in a relationship with a woman of the city, played by Margaret Livingston. This has caused him to go in debt, go in moneylenders, and sell off a lot of his, cattle. He's pretty much a mess right now. And this woman is not very good for him, to say the least. Especially when she suggests to him to drown his wife, played by Janet Gaynor. So that way he can sell the farm and move to the city with the woman. That's pretty outrageous. And then the whole rest of the film is basically about him trying to commit that, but it doesn't work out, and the wife is obviously absolutely horrified. And the rest of the movie is them trying to make it, trying to make it up to her, and trying to get back with her, and testing the strength of their marriage. I have to say, I can see why this won for Best Cinematography. There are just certain trick shots in this film that are really cool. When it starts out, when you have a lot of double exposure, a lot of that's like in-camera stuff, but there's some really cool shots of some nice depth of field where you have when you have the woman from the city walking past other houses, and you can see what's happening in one or two of the other houses, like very vaguely. They're not just houses passing by. You can kind of see what some people moving about in those houses. There's another shot where you see George OBrien's character go into the this little marsh area. And there's some nice, really dense fog, and lighting for that scene is perfect. There's not much. I can't praise the cinematography enough in this film. There's just some really beautiful shots, and also some of the sets are really they're interesting because a lot of them are very simple. There's certain scenes where you see cardboard skyscrapers, and to me that's proving the artificiality and the dehumanization of the city life, But there's other scenes where you have artificial carnivals and an artificial dreamland, and that basically is, you kind of want to go there. That artificial aspect of film where it's like, it's not real, but you want to go there so bad. And there's another really beautiful shot before I move on to the performances where it's just, the farmer and his wife walking across the city, and there's like cars, stopping left and right because they're just in the middle of the road, and then it's like a rear, I think it's like a rear screen projection shot where you see them like walking, and then it changes to a shot of them walking in like a beautiful field, probably near their farm, which looks absolutely gorgeous. And then it cuts back to like everybody like stopping in front of them, like there's horses and the cars, and that is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. Performance-wise, you have George OBrien, who plays the farmer, and he was most well known for playing in westerns and such. I haven't seen a lot of those westerns, but I enjoyed him in this film. He kind of played like this dumb guy, and I think he played that rather well. And his regret is perfect. His insatiable desires at certain points are captured perfectly. And he's also able to play like the good husband. Like there's flashback scenes where you see him, as like a good father figure and a good husband. That makes you more upset at the fact that how much of a jerk he's become. Of course, you have Janet Gaynor, who won the Oscar that year, or in 1929 rather, for best actress. And the funny thing is, the Oscars back then, nobody took them as seriously as they do today, and a lot of people still don't take them seriously. But when she won, she said, I never took that very seriously, but meeting Douglas Fairbanks, that was a bigger thrill. Which is kind of interesting because not everybody in the world knows who Douglas Fairbanks is, except for people like whoever's watching this video and myself. Or at least I would hope somebody watching this video knows who Douglas Fairbanks is, but beyond that, my favorite performance in the film has to be from Margaret Livingston, and it's mainly because of her hands, and her hands really make the performance. She's very much of like a vampire. I remember reading Roger Ebert's review of the film and commenting that Margaret Livingston's performance reminded him of Count Orlok from another F.W. Murnau film, Nosferatu. And it's just perfect scenes where she's like, she and the farmer are embracing. There's like, her hands are in such like crooked and cringed positions. And especially when she's like grabbing him and when he's trying to run away, they're always in these crooked positions. And she always wears black too, so that adds to it. There's a really nice double exposure shot in the film where you see the farmer and you see a shot of overlap, kind of like an overlap where you have the woman from the city kind of have the farmer in her grasp, and she has like her hands positioned like that. And for me, that was a very powerful, amazing little scene. It's just it was a couple shots, but it works out rather well. I love some of the double exposure in the film, and also certain actions that occur and repeat. Title cards. Now, F.W. Murnau is known for lack of title cards, but in the beginning of this film, it feels like a standard silent film. It has a decent amount of title cards. But these title cards are really depressing. They don't look like your fancy, like, very beautiful font title cards. They're very, almost like not chalk, but like if I painted, I got like a paint and just painted like that. And sometimes you'll see a title card, you'll see the action that happens, and then you'll see the title card again. And there's also a shot where it says, where the woman in the city says, you should drown her. And literally the text is like spilling like water, basically. And then in the second half of the film, you don't get a lot of title cards because you have all the information that you need right in front of you. And I realized that very end. I'm like, oh my god, there's very few title cards at this, last half of this movie. So that was rather interesting. The one really main criticism I have is that there's, these scenes where the farmer and his wife are like this carnival, and while it was well shot and well acted, it was a little long. And I know this film's only an hour and a half, but if I had to cut something, I probably would have cut some of that up. Or cut some of that out, rather, because it just kind of dragged. But don't let that minor flaw deter you from seeing one of the early Oscar winners. This really is a fine film. Check it out, and I'll see you next week when I discuss my top 5 favorite Buster Keaton shorts from 1920 through 1923. I'll see you next week.